Alright guys, so this workout is going to be different from all the other workouts which I have shown so far in my channel, and this is because in this workout I'll be focusing on the negative part of each rep of the movements which I'll be doing. So the first exercise I begin with is the seated chest press. Now here I'll be doing a warm-up set of 2 reps, and then I will move to the working set where I will be doing a fast positive part of the movement followed by a slow negative, and then a static hold focusing on the negative part of the movement all the way to failure. As you can see over here, I am doing the positive part of the movement with speed. The negative part, however, I am trying to use a cadence of 8 seconds. 2 seconds on the positive, 1 second to hold the weight at the fully contracted position, and a 7 to 8 second negative. Now, many of you who are familiar with the training principles of Mike Mentzer might be knowing that he spoke highly about the negative part of a repetition. According to Mike Mentzer, the negative part was the most productive part of any movement. As Mike said, it is more useful to hold the weight and even more useful to lower the weight, as lowering the weight leads to the greatest amount of muscle fiber recruitment and therefore an extended amount of time under load, leading to greater muscular growth. Now once when I reach failure on the negative, I will move on and perform one static hold. Once again, when I perform the static hold, I'll be lifting the weight very fast using a little bit of momentum, and then I'll be holding the weight in the fully contracted position, and I'll be lowering the weight as slowly as possible until the fibers in my chest give out. As the muscle fibers in my chest give out, I slowly exit the movement, and after a brief breather, I move to the next exercise, which is a set of close grip palms up pull downs. Now here in this exercise too, I am going to follow the same principle. A fairly fast positive followed by 1 second of static hold, and then a very slow negative. Once again, after reaching failure, I am going to do one static hold where I'll bring down the weight very fast, and then I'm going to try and hold the weight as long as possible, and then I'll be doing super slow negative. This form of training is not pleasant. It's excruciating and it's painful. But then again, whatever is difficult works best for you in bodybuilding. The next exercise is the dumbbell overhead press. Now, since I am suffering from an ACL injury, therefore I have to do most movements in a seated position. Having said that, I must say that compared to a barbell overhead press, the dumbbell overhead press is more effective. This is because it allows you to focus on all the three heads of the delt muscle. Since here I am using free weights, the positive and the negative nearly take the same amount of time. It's easier to work the negative when you are using machines. In this case, however, still I am trying to control the negative part of the movement and do it as slowly as I can under full muscular control. Having completed this, once again I'll go for a static hold where I lift the weight first and then I try to hold the weight in the fully contracted position and then lower it slowly until the muscle fibers in my deltoids slowly give out. Now, since this is a full body workout, I'm going to move on to the next exercise, which is a set of dumbbell curls. In this workout session, I will only be training my biceps as my triceps have received a lot of indirect work from the pressing movements, that's chest press and the overhead dumbbell press. Once again, here I try to do a moderately fast positive followed by an elongated negative. The elongated negative or the slow negative allows you to work your muscle fibers to the fullest. Once again, after having completed this set, I'll move on with a set of static holds all the way to failure. So here I'll be performing a static hold where I lift the weight pretty fast and then I lower the weight or I perform the negative part of the movement under full muscular control. It is painful, especially if you are training a small muscle group like the biceps, but believe me, the pump that you will get and the muscle stimulation that you will acquire from training in this way is out of the world. Now moving on to the leg exercises, I'll be performing a set of dumbbell squats. Now, whenever you're performing movements like squats and deadlifts, I would suggest that you do regular repetitions. Here you cannot perform negative because these movements come with a risk factor and you might end up injuring yourself. So for squats and deadlifts, do regular reps. Now here my number of reps are limited because I'm walking through an ACL injury. So I'll be stopping at 10 or 12 repetitions. But for those of you who do not have any problems, I would suggest you train all the way to form failure. The last exercise of this session is going to be a set of elevated push-ups. Now, this movement too, you can focus on the negative by lifting yourself up in the fully contracted position and then lowering yourself as slowly as possible. This is a great full body exercise. It hits your pecs, your deltoids, and even your triceps. So basically, a lot of people, when they do this movement, they train very fast. But I would suggest do not, for the sake of getting in more repetitions, sacrifice form. This one too can be done very effectively in a negative only manner. So after reaching failure, once again here I'll be doing a kind of static hold where first of all I lift myself into the fully extended position and then slowly I perform the negative part of the movement where I lower myself under full muscular control. Rather, I resist lowering myself until the muscle fibers in my pecs give out. That is a brutal finisher, and this exercise ends this workout. It's very important when you train to keep on experimenting with different kinds of training styles to find out what works best for you. To those of you who think you might have plateaued, I would suggest give this negative only training style a try and let me know how it went for you in the comment section below. Thank you guys.